Hello, and welcome to Humble and Radiant. My name is Eliesa, and I am so happy you guys are here with me. See, I am passionate about the Bible coming to life, helping you see that it's so much easier to read than you could have ever imagined, and that when you draw near to God, He will draw near to you. So come join me as we humbly seek God's face. Today's episode is a special episode because I will be sharing with you all the wonderful things that God has done to me, specifically through my brain hemorrhage. See, it happened about 5 years ago. Come tomorrow, March 6th, it'll be 5 years that I am celebrating life. And it was the most dramatic thing that ever happened to our whole family and to those that knew us dearly. But I want to share with you how God has been restoring me through the process. So let's see, where does it start? Okay, so it happened in the evening. Tyler and I had got all the kids to bed, and we were just laying there, and all of a sudden I got this sharp pain in the back of my head. It was just like all of a sudden, really fast, and I felt like I had to go throw up. And then I felt like I had to go to the bathroom too. All of a sudden, all the things. And I just tried to get up, and I just couldn't. There was something that was like I wasn't feeling on balance. It was hard for me to walk. My body was shaking at this point, all of a sudden, very fast. And Tyler's looking at me all weird. So I made it to the bathroom, but I didn't throw up. I didn't do anything. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should go lay down. So went back, and I laid down. And as I'm laying down there, I feel and I see my hands, they're just shaking so violently. And I'm like looking into Tyler's eyes, his eyes of fear. And he's like, he sees something wrong. And I don't want to worry him. So I'm telling him, it's okay, honey, I'll be fine. I just got dizzy all of a sudden. And I'm trying really hard to stop my body from shaking and convulsing, which is kind of impossible when you can't be in control of that in this situation. See, what I didn't know about Tyler is that he already knew what was going on. I thought I just got a really weird bad headache, maybe a cold, I don't know. It was just something weird, but he knew that I was having a brain hemorrhage, and God gave him the fear, and he knew all of the signs of what it looks like when your brain is bleeding. And so immediately he's like, we gotta go. He got me a bucket. He carried me to the car. The kids are asleep. We didn't say bye to them or anything. He carried me to the Ford Focus, and he started driving. And immediately, and I couldn't even sit up to look for anything. I think he buckled me. I don't even remember anything at this point, the details at this point. I'm going to share with you the things I do remember. And it's that he called this guy, his name is Bo, and I'm so thankful for him. If you listen to this, Bo, thank you so much. And he's like, hey, grab your pillow and a blanket and come crash on the couch. Watch over the kids. I had to take Alicia to the hospital. And he hung up. Click. That was it. And he trusted that he was going to come over and he was going to do those things. And the kids were completely asleep. I wonder what it was like for them when they woke up. Like, being confused by who was there and all the things. And so we're driving. It was about 15-20 minute drive to the hospital. And we were in Del Rio at this time, 5 to 7 minutes from the border of Mexico. Very small hospital. And there isn't very much that I'm going to realize that they knew about much of anything. So we got there, and they kept insisting, I completely forgot. As we're driving there, and this is the most important part, the most pivotal point for me in my life is these next couple of minutes as we were driving to the hospital, because I'm sitting there completely curled over, and my head is hurting so much. I am breathing so heavily, and I'm just like overwhelmed, like not knowing what's going to happen, and I'm like, I'm going to die. And then the next thought that crossed my mind is, God, this can't be the end, because I haven't raised my kids and I haven't fulfilled the purpose that you have for me. This can't be it. See, God has in so many different ways placed women's ministry on my heart before I even liked talking to women. And so I knew that it wasn't time because I hadn't had a chance to do the things that he's called me to. I had just started teaching women's Bible study, and that was it. I just started, and I was actually enjoying it because before that, I used to not like women at all. I used to hate them, to be honest with you. I wanted nothing to do with them. But God was doing a work in me, and he was starting to change my perspective. And I mean, I had 3 kiddos. Selah's birthday, my 4-year-old daughter, was about to turn 5. And Ben and Oliver were 10 years old. Were they 10? No, they were 11 years old. I felt like it wasn't time yet. And then the next thing I remembered is when we pulled up to the hospital and he got a wheelchair and he brought me up to the front desk and they kept insisting that I had food poisoning. And he kept telling them, no, these are her symptoms. She's bleeding the brain. We need to sedate her. We need to bring her blood pressure down to stop all the blood from rushing to her head. And they were like, we can't do that yet. We need to first get scans. We need to make sure she's not pregnant before we can do anything. So they did a pregnancy test, came back negative, and then they're like, okay. They sedated me. But before they sedated me, the guy brings in the shot that he was going to administer, and he drops it on the floor. And Tyler's waiting, like, what's he going to do? He was about to use it. And Tyler's like, you're going to change that, right? And so luckily, because Tyler was so attentive to me, they actually ended up changing the syringe or the shot, or I'm not sure what the technical term for it is. They changed it, and I don't remember a lot of the things, but I can share with you what Tyler has shared with me. So they did the scans. For me, everything was black now. I didn't remember anything at this point. I was going in and out of everything. They did the scans in my head, and they come back, and Tyler's like, so what's the news? And he says, it's bad. It's really bad. And Tyler asks the doctor, he's like, okay, so what are we going to do next? And he's like, I don't know. I have no idea what to do. And he's like, okay, well, who knows what to do? And so he said that probably he'd have to send me to San Antonio. And so he's like, okay, so what do we need to do that? And there is the option of the helicopter to get medevaced, or for the hospital, for the the ambulance. And it was a 3-hour drive. The only problem, he says, like if you take the ambulance, they're going to have to probably stop at the next hospital if anything happens, and they won't be able to do anything there either. And so the best option would be to be medevaced, but there isn't any space for you, they told Tyler. So Tyler had to get in the car and start driving. Now, all of this started at about 11 p.m. I'm not sure by what time in the morning they found out this information. But they told Tyler the helicopters can't make it right now because the pilots have reached their maximum. They can't put any more hours until the morning. And it's foggy, so they couldn't even fly, even if they wanted to. They had to wait for the morning. And so as soon as Tyler felt like it was close enough to time, he wanted to meet me there. He left and he started driving. And I waited. Everything's black at this point for me. I don't remember much of anything until they showed up. And Tyler told me later, he said that as he was driving up to San Antonio, he called his mom, crying and asking her to pray for me, telling her everything that happened. And as soon as he got done talking to her, he said he felt so tired and overwhelmed, and he pulled over and he went to sleep. He got a nap, and at the same time I was sleeping too. And the next thing I remembered is all of a sudden this man comes up to me. He says, Alicia, you're going to be okay. We're going to take you up to San Antonio. We're going to fly you there. We're going to strap you to this bed. Don't worry about anything. Everything will be fine. And your husband's on the way, and he's going to meet us there. And so I remember getting into the plane, the airplane, the helicopter, and they had me strapped in, and there really wasn't any space for anybody at all. And the next thing I remember is they were unloading me there, and Tyler hadn't quite arrived yet. I don't remember him there. I guess I'm not sure when he arrived, to be honest with you. when we got there was a swarm of people around me asking me what's going on, what happened, this and that. I told them to the best of my ability what happened, and they did an angiogram, which is like this test they do where they use a camera, and it's good. They go through your artery, I believe it is, and it goes through this artery in your groin, and it goes all the way up to your brain. And at the same time, they're releasing this ink into your blood so that the ink can show the doctors where the blood flow is and this and that much clearer, so they can see maybe where it happened, what sparked, was it arterial, what kind it was. And so they didn't find the source of the brain hemorrhage. So it was, the bleeding was in my meninges, which is the outer layer all the way around, which makes sense why I was throwing up, which makes sense why I couldn't see anything, which makes sense why I had no balance. So many different things just all of a sudden happened, and it's because of where I was bleeding. And so they did the tests, and Tyler came, and the nurses were so attentive, and everything, it didn't feel like anything changed, but everything changed at the same time. See, I couldn't walk anymore. And I couldn't see peripheral vision. And my taste buds completely vanished. I couldn't taste things like I used to be able to taste them. And everything was different. But I remember the first time that I was able to take a shower at the hospital. I got up and I took my shower. I don't remember how I got to the shower. I don't remember if anyone helped me. I don't think anybody helped me at this point. It was a couple days after everything happened. And I remember just standing there in front of the mirror, completely naked, and realizing for the first time in my 29 years of life at that time that I was beautiful. It was the first time I understood that the only thing that's beautiful about me is that I'm alive and I'm God's, and I have a purpose with my body. See, before this all happened, I had so much body shame, and I hated myself in so many ways. I hated my personality. I detested myself, and I always wanted to change. Like, God, why did you make me this way? I hated the way I was. But this was the first time in my life when I saw myself completely naked, like just completely gauntly and white and pasty because of all the things my body went through. And I was like, God, you made me so beautiful for the first time. And it wasn't because of my physical beauty, but because of the life that I have. God redeemed that in me, and he's constantly redeeming that in me, because see, the body that I have, the body that you have, is made not for me to admire myself, because otherwise there'd be mirrors everywhere where I can look upon myself and compare myself and critique it. But it was made for the people who look at me. My children, when they hug me, they don't see any flaws. They love me. And all the parts of my body, they love hugging me. They don't mind. They don't think about the things I do. And my husband, he married me, and he loves me the way that I am too. Even though there may be some things I may find imperfect, and they don't compare to the people I see on TV. It doesn't matter. That is not the purpose that my body was for. My body was made to serve my husband and my children and those that are around me. And they do not see the flaws that I see. And I want to encourage you, don't look at those flaws. They will stop you from so much joy and so many years of misery. See, I was worshiping myself, or what myself wasn't. I thought about myself so much, because see, whenever I take my time off of the Lord and I take that time to think about something else, I am now worshiping that thing. And so I came face to face with this new perspective that I'm alive. And so many of my friends, and so many since then, whenever they get older, like, oh, I'm getting wrinkles. Oh, I'm getting gray hair. oh, I'm going to be turning X amount of years. And to be honest with you, I'm like, yes, I'm getting wrinkles. I'm getting gray hair. I'm turning this many years old. And it's exciting to me because that means that I have been able to live long enough to experience these things. These are the things I am excited for. I'm excited for more gray hair. I'm excited for more wrinkles. I'm excited for whatever my body has, because that means I'm able to be here with my family. See, I wasn't afraid that I wouldn't go to heaven. I was sad because I felt like I had more that God wanted me to do on this earth. The reason why I knew I would go to heaven is because I do believe in Jesus. And I believe that he died, and 3 days later, he rose from the grave, and he was resurrected, and he's with God at his right hand. And that when he died for my sins. And because I believe in that, I wasn't afraid of dying. I just wanted to do everything I was supposed to do. And so since all of this happened, a lot has been different. I was told that of people who have a brain hemorrhage like I did, only 25% of people survive. And of that 25% of people, only 25% of people are even able to walk afterwards. And within that week that I was there, I was able to walk. I was able to think and talk, and I was able to eat. And I can't imagine that what would have happened had God not given Tyler all those fears, had he not rushed me to the hospital, had he not told them what to do, given the doctors the steps, said, we need to sedate her, we need to check these things, we need to find her help. He walked the doctor through it all. And since, there has been a lot of things that have been different for me. My peripheral vision took a while to get back. If somebody walked past me, I would get off balance. And it's still, I struggle with it from time to time. I started having chronic migraines and seizures, and I've been finding different ways to help relieve some of those things. And my taste buds are completely different. I can't cook like I used to be able to. And I can't tell when I'm hungry. I can't tell when I'm full. So many things. But you know what I can tell? I can tell that now I love my children with this new love that I didn't have before. I love my husband with this passion that I didn't have before. And I am just so excited to do what God wants me to do, because he has so many plans for my life and for your life, honestly, that I know what he wants me to do. But before this all happened, I wasn't pursuing it. I was just going through life and waiting for those things to happen to me instead of pursuing it. I wasn't pursuing God with all my heart. And now all of this has changed. Yes, there's times when I kind of go back, but I don't last very long, because this memory, this event is something that's so drastic. Every time I go back and I remember the goodness of God, I can't help but rejoice. This isn't my testimony. This is God's testimony of what he has done to my life. And I am so thankful and so grateful that he chose to redeem me in this way, that he gave me a new perspective for who I am and how my body is and all these things. Only he can do that. And I pray that by hearing my story, just a portion of it, that it can edify you and you can learn from it or grow from it. I don't know, whatever it may be for you. I pray that it may be a blessing to you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. God bless.